Welcome to episode 3 of Shambhu Sessions, a podcast of inspiring conversations with musicians, artists, and visionaries of our time. I'm your host, Shambhu, guitarist and composer. I thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to like, follow, and share this podcast wherever you listen. I'm joined today by a dear friend, Kristin Hoffmann, who is a classically trained singer, songwriter, composer, multi-instrumentalist, and producer. She calls herself a sonic alchemist and offers musical experiences at the intersection of art, consciousness, and healing. Today, we're going to learn more about Kristin's career, projects she's working on, and her transformation from a kind of folk singer to a sonic alchemist and what that means. Welcome, Kristin.
It sounds like fun.
It does.
I'm
I feel
so
like
glad
we've
to
done
be
this a
here.
few times.
What are you talking about? It's so great to be here. Love you, dear friend, and excited that you've started a podcast. I know we're going to have a juicy conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. So we met many years ago at a birthday party for myself in the Hamptons, and you happened to come with Arpon D'Angelo, our dear friend,
Yes.
and you sang me birthday songs, and I would later come into the city and see you at a cafe in the West Village multiple times, always sold out,
Aw.
and you were playing all your early songs from your first album, and it was always magical. Everyone said, "Oh my God, she's going to be such a big star," and you became a big star. I want to kind of talk about your early career first and the kind of music you did in the beginning. You were trained as an opera singer.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about
Yes.
that.
Yeah, I began in the classical music world at age 4. I was originally doing classical piano, and as I grew, I really felt a call towards singing, and I started studying classically, attended Juilliard pre-college. I really went down the path of developing my voice and understanding my vessel as an instrument. And I was passionate about opera. I was passionate about classical music. And I was also passionate about folk music and was listening to a lot of Joni Mitchell and Peter Gabriel. There was a merger that happened where I started kind of morphing my worlds of classical and folk pop. And then a decision point that had to be made where you really do as an artist have to give your all to the path that you're choosing. And had I gone fully down the opera route, I would have had to embody that 100% and give my all. And it became apparent at an early age, I have to make a decision. And ultimately, I chose to, in my mind, take the path less traveled and step into a path as creator, as producer, songwriter. And ironically, it has circled back around through the years, and I'm now really calling in a lot of the classical roots, and even some of the opera as well is coming back in. So it's been a great journey, and I'm grateful that I got to start in the classical rooting, as I think it really helped me to understand and build a great foundation of music theory. I still hear music, I would say, at a fundamental classical level in my being. There's always that kind of foundation present. So anyway, here we are.
Yeah, and in addition to singing so beautifully, you're a fantastic pianist.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I always say voice and my instrument that is part of me is number one, and piano is a steady number two. I love just the resonance of piano. And even though my chops are not what they once were in the realm of classical music, they're there enough to really support me and support my voice and the songs that I want to bring through, which is wonderful.
And in the beginning, you were like a Laura Nyro, Joni Mitchell hybrid, performing, trying to get a hit album and tour and all that kind of stuff. Tell me about that early phase.
Yeah, I would say, well, and I was very blessed to have such a great band, even in high school, just virtuosic musicians, truly incredible. So from a very young age, I was able to not just write music and express it, but express it in a full band form, which took me into what I would say is the traditional path of success for a young musician. And I signed a deal with Capitol Records when I had just turned 20, was there for a few years, and eventually ended up with Interscope Records for a few years. And the large part of my 20s was filled with making records with major labels and working with extraordinary producers and traveling around, touring, opening up for some amazing people. And I learned a lot, and it was very valuable time spent, I feel. No regrets. I also learned that there was a cap on the kind of ethereal and spiritual messages that I could share in that container. And eventually I feel, well, depending on whoever's listening, I feel my soul, to use that word, was yearning to express in a different capacity. And I felt for a few years in that realm that there was a ceiling on what I could do.
So in the
Which
beginning, you had toured with Brandy Carlisle and the Wallflowers and others, right?
I toured with the Wallflowers. I got to open for Brandy Carlisle and many others like Feist, Richie Havens.
Wow,
Yeah, so many great people.
what a great
Um,
platform.
it was
And
amazing.
yeah, and then you started doing collaborations. One that really became huge was Bella Gaia.
Yes, yes. So I always say these days, the minute I actually left the mainstream music world as we know it, was almost the day that I feel like I started to birth into the full expression of my artistry and using voice as an instrument rather than just as a lyrical instrument, as an instrument itself. And Bella Gaia came into my life, which is this amazing multimedia project in partnership with NASA, formed by director Kenji Williams. And it really is quite something. You're basically watching the Earth from outer space and experiencing live music, dance, up to date data visualizations while you explore our planet. And the music is largely world, ambient with undertones of electronic. And I'm actually still with Bella Gaia. So 14 years later, I'm still singing, and it is a living project. So every show, there are parts that I know I'm going to sing, and yet there's about maybe 40% of it that's improvisational. So each show is open to new interpretation, and I love that. Yeah.
I love that. And then sometime around that time, I think around 2017, 16, 17, I started working with you on my album Soothe.
Yes, that was so beautiful.
Yeah, and very grateful for your participation there. And you know what I noticed about like the vocal parts you added to some of my songs, Knowing This and Soothe, was you weren't just making music, but you were creating these kind of sonic environments,
Mm,
mashups of layers and layers of your voice. And it was just so uplifting. It was almost like water.
thank you.
You know what I mean? And it added so much to those songs and made them feel really kind of cosmic. And you've moved from doing the touring and the pop tunes or tunes that would resonate on that level into kind of music that's more environmental, more heart-based,
Hmm.
thematic. Tell me
Yes.
about that kind of shift.
Well, firstly, I would say creating layers of vocals and scapes, moods and vocal chorales that really hug you, that bring you into a space that kind of exists between the worlds. This is my favorite thing to do. This is where my passion lies. And to do this, I'm always listening to the earth, listening to spirit, And this shift from, I would say the pop artist side of me, the folk pop artist, was the outward doing 3D world expression. And as I've moved more into these subtle realm expressions of vocalization and production, there has been a lot more intentionality into the spaces that I create and hold, and the listening and the opening that happens in those spaces, whoever I may be working with, whatever I may be tapping into. So yes, that has expressed in all different forms, including writing a lot of thematic songs for organizations and different purposes that really serve in the realms of peace, environmentalism, and unity. So yes, listening is so important. And I found that as I've stopped trying to do and put myself into the world as performer, and I have become receptive as a musician, that has been a major evolution point, major shift point for me.
So you've moved into the idea of music for healing.
For sure. My fascination with resonance, with frequency, with music for healing, I don't even feel like I should say it's possibility. It is. I feel like music is the new frontier of medicine and healing. Frequency-based medicine is something that we are becoming familiar with, I think, as humans. And there is something truly life transforming on emotional levels and on cellular levels when we experience certain types of music, tones, frequency, overtones. And through the years, I've actually studied sound healing, tuning forks on the acupuncture meridians, harmonic overtone singing over the past 6 years or so, and all of these different new understandings about frequency and the way frequency affects the body and our energetic systems has really informed the music that I share. And really every space, whether I'm singing words or using my voice as an instrument, now every space I step into, I consciously open each space with intention and ask that a healing can occur on whatever level is really needed at that time. Whether it be a deep message that's going to really speak to someone's heart, or allow a theme for an organization to land in an emotional, vast way, or whether I'm creating or calling through an ambient, ethereal journey that's designed to allow people to just fully release, relax, and let their highest guidance come through. All of these expressions, I feel, are healing when we align our intention.
Love that. And you kind of see yourself as fusing multiple styles. You're not just in New Age, you're not really in classical, you're not really in world. You're kind of a fusion, aren't you?
Definitely a fusion. And I think that's something that I love about my music, and probably has also, from a mainstream music perspective, been something that maybe has held me back. But I truly love to play in the field of what moves me. And that is a merger of classical and ambient and ethereal and healing and world. And just allowing them to play in a soup is what I think is my original sound. I don't like the idea of just trying to adhere to the rules of one space.
Well, you have facility in all these styles, so you can just draw upon really whatever you're feeling, and then people can classify it later.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm happy for people to experience it however they need to experience it. If that is just labelless, great. If it really sings out as a specific genre to someone, that's perfect too.
Is that really what makes your music unique? Your approach to it?
I feel that it is so. The fact that I'm really listening for it to come through rather than trying to simulate something else that has been done. I'm never trying to copy anything. Everything is new. And actually, I thrive in the new. The new is what excites me. I am a musician who finishes something and I'm ready to go on the next adventure rather than go back in and spend more time doing that piece that's already been done. I love the new. I love improvisation. I love seeing what wants to surprise me on my journey. There's always more surprises if we stay open.
I love it. And you kind of have an endless supply of creative, don't you?
I feel at this point I have a pretty endless supply of creative, but you know what? I think that's actually a skill that we can develop and hone. Back in the days where I was, I remember being on Capitol Records and having to write a lot of songs per month. And I would hit what I would call writer's block many, many times. And I actually developed some practices to get out of my mind and be back in flow. Those have served me to this day. And as I've practiced being in more of a flow state, the creativity is always there. So if you're a creator listening and you feel that you get hung up, my guess is that you're too much in your mind. And the more we can just release the mind or our expectations of what we want something to be and do anything to distract ourselves. Like if I would be having trouble writing lyrics, it was usually because I was trying so hard to think of the perfect lyric. And I would do a free flow exercise. I still do this where I'll look around and I start with tree. Oh, I'm looking out. I see tree, wind, leaves, green, the winds of the ages, ancestors calling. Suddenly and I just write everything down. And the minute I get hung up in the mind, I redirect and I look at something else and I continue on. So getting in a flow state and practicing how to embrace, or I guess that's the wrong word. Embracing a flow state is really contrary. How to surrender ourselves to flow. I think this is the key to creativity.
Love that. It seems like quite a few artists have embraced your approach because you've done collaborations with Stephen Halpern. You've done a couple with Peter Cater. Tell me about those and how they came about.
Yes. Stephen Halpern, I met in the Bay Area quite a few years ago. Actually, he came to a Bella Gaia show that I did there, and we just really connected, and he loved Bella Gaia. And we've had a wonderful co-creative relationship ever since, and we've become friends as well. We're always emailing, and he reached out and wanted to have some vocals on a few of his albums, which is not something that he does that regularly. So I think it was fun for him to bring the human voice into some of his work, and it was fun for me to explore diving deeper into the new age realms. And I think my work with Stephen helped to usher me in to the new age world, and we're still collaborating, so we have a lot of fun.
What are some of the titles you've done with him? Some of the songs you've done with him?
Well, the first album that we did together was called Echoes of a Dream, and I'm not on every track. I'm on a few of the tracks, but it's really a special journey. I feel you can just put it on and go into a really deep meditative space and give yourself a gift of healing. And Echoes of a Dream, the piece did really well, the main one. I think it's over 1 million listens at this point.
Wow.
Which is great, or high beyond 1 million, I think. Then we collaborated on Cannabis Dreams, a couple more pieces, and other works as well. We're also in the midst of something. I'm not going to say too much about it, but in the next year or so, I think we'll be seeing another release together.
And then you did a couple of projects with Peter Cater.
Yes. Peter Cater and I met a few years ago, and over the past year, about a year, a little more than a year, we've been in a really amazing, active, collaborative space. He first reached out and asked if I would lay something down for his Spiritus Intermediate album, which is so awesome. He has really gone into a niche. He's passionate about breath work and has become, I would say, a breathwork expert in his own life and works with a lot of breathwork practitioners. And he decided to create albums where you can experience and practice with music and breathwork, and you can also listen to the musical tracks on their own. So he had done one album before the intermediate, and it was beautiful. And he had this beautiful melody for the intermediate, and I heard it, and he said, "Do you think this would be a good fit for you?" And it was an immediate yes. So since then, we've woven on a few beautiful projects. The latest release, which just came out, is called Untethered Heart. And it's all instrumental except for the title track, Untethered Heart. And I'm singing and I'm doing a lot of the vocal layering. And I think it just turned out so... It's very special, I think. So give it a listen, Untethered Heart.
Yeah, I think I'm seeing your little cat or your dog behind
It's
you.
my dog. He'll lie down again.
He's cute.
He's my little co-pilot.
I think vocal layering is something that really allows you to stand out,
Yes.
because of your approach, your musicality, your heart. It really, you're really creating very transcendent sounds.
Yes. Thank you. I feel that it's one of my, every artist has their specialty or their special sauce, and vocal layering is one of the spaces where it just all makes sense to me. I can hear it. I don't even have to hear it per se. It's like I'm intuiting what needs to happen next, and it just reveals itself to me. And it's so fun to feel what layers of ethereal sound can do. Something that I've been playing a lot with in the past 6 years has been something that I'm calling solome. Well, solome is what I call my particular style of soul singing. Soul being light, S-O-L, weaving with Om, A-U-M, the vibration of the universe. So light and sound weaving. And I've been bringing through solome pieces for ages in my life. And yet now I'm playing with solome Coriolis, which I think of like the borealis lights, that like these bloomings of light and sound. And I start with one voice and I'm actually looping out of time. So most loopers loop in time, and I try to lose the time and then just listen, and these blossoming expressions of choral bliss kind of emerge. And not everyone is amazing. Some of them are just fair. But when one comes through that is really on, I feel like I'm watching it all unfold as I'm bringing it through. And at the end, it's like, wow, spectacular. And to me as an artist, that's just so exciting when one of those gems decides to birth through.
Because you never know if you're going to get there and when, but when you get there, you know you made it.
Yeah, you never know. You never know until you do it.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy to be in the journey of it, in the doing, in the listening, letting it come through. And yeah, when you land a gem and you're actually recording and you can go back and listen and then share it, it's so special. So.
Yeah. So nature's a big part of your music. You've done music for the earth, music for
Yeah.
the seas, the oceans.
Yes. Nature is so important to me. I think nature is what keeps me sane and balanced on a daily basis.
You live in the midst of nature.
I do. I'm up in the Hudson Valley. I'm actually looking out right now at Minnewaska State Park. I'm right on the edge, and it's glorious and divine, and every day has something to learn. I learned something from being in these woods. And actually my latest full album release, RainShine, really came from a process of being up here in these woods and listening to the land. And over a 7-year period, these pieces came through. Actually, most of the skeleton of RainShine came through pretty quickly, but then it was the enhancement, the bringing it into full life in all of its subtle texture that really, I decided to just not put a timeline on it and listen and just be with what wanted to be. So I I'm very proud. This album, I feel like it was one of the things that I needed to birth in my life, and I'm grateful that it's here. The whole concept of RainShine to me it's a sacred quiver. RainShine is a sacred quiver after the storms of your life, after the rain has fallen and you have this water. Suddenly the light comes in and illuminates the water, and it begins to quiver with new life and new possibility. And in that RainShine, the seeds of your vision, your curiosity, your creation can be born. And I feel like this will take you on a journey. This will both listen to your hardships and call you into your next expansion. That's my feeling. I hope.
I love that.
Go listen.
I love that. And you've got a couple of other current releases.
Another piece I'm really, really excited about that came through recently and is out as a single is called Ma-Ra-Va-Ti. And you will kind of experience more of a neoclassical realm there. Ma-Ra-Va-Ti was a name that a great visionary named Adi received in her journeys in the realms. She saw that the divine origin of Mother Earth was referred to as Ma-Ra-Va-Ti. And she brought this back to this side and has felt that it's very important at this time for us as humans to support Mother Earth, Ma-Ra-Va-Ti, in her rising, and felt that an anthem and a special piece of music was going to allow us to tap in and really assist Mother Earth at this time. And in turn, we would also be reminded and remember the codes of the earth and how to tap in and connect. So this piece was born. Addie contacted me and said, I feel you are the person to bring this through. And I'm just so grateful for her incredible vision and support. There's something to it. It's more than, for me, it's more than just music. There's something magical there. And I hope you feel it too. It's on all the platforms. So go check it out if you feel inspired.
I love that. And what advice would you have for others, women or men, who want to kind of get into making beautiful music?
Well, firstly, I would say always just trust your own voice. Trust your vision. There's no right way to do this. Let yourself be in a dialogue with your own instrument, with your own path. It'll be so much more exciting if you're not just copying something, but you actually listen to who you are and what wants to come through. What is your story? What is your sound? And if you're already a musician who's writing songs, I highly, highly recommend, as whenever I'm mentoring younger musicians, I say, these days especially, it's not necessarily going to be enough to just be a great singer, or a great guitar player, or a great pianist. In today's times, I think you have to be a jack or a Jill of all trades and really learn some of the technological side. Learn a simple program, whether it be just GarageBand on your laptop, or whether you want to get into a more in-depth program like Pro Tools or Logic. But just giving yourself the gift of learning how to bring your vision through and record it in a really beautiful way, whether it's to make a finished song, or whether you just want to get your ideas out and be able to demo what it is that you're hearing. I think this is, for me personally, this has been as important as actually learning how to sing, how to play, has been learning the technology side of things as well.
Love that. And where can people find your music?
People can find my music on any platform. And I would say please visit my website, which is at KristinHoffmann.com. And I'll spell it because it's a little bit of a strange spelling. Kristin, Kristin, HOFFMANN. So there's two N's at the end, .com. And on my website, you can find, when you go to the music section, all little players, which are from the platform called Bandcamp, which I think is just such an amazing platform that still is supporting artists in such a great way. There's not many out there these days that really are artist friendly. And by going to either my own website or Bandcamp itself at kristinhoffmann.bandcamp.com, you can really support me and other artists in a great way. So go give a listen. I have a lot of videos up there as well. And there should be something for everybody's taste, I think. Or for maybe not everybody, but for a lot of people. Whether you're looking for healing or songs with lyrics about life, there will be something hopefully to lift your heart.
Well, you have lifted many hearts with your music, and everybody's very grateful to you for doing music from the heart and taking that approach versus just becoming a pop star. You've become an inner pop star.
I love that. That's great. I love that, an inner pop star.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is, I mean, my passion is just I just want to know as an artist that I'm using my vehicle and the tools that I've built to add to peace in this world, add to our awareness, add to your healing within yourself, that I may be of service through sound. And if I'm achieving that in some way, shape, or form, or connecting with souls who are listening, then I feel like mission complete.
Well, you should be very proud of what you've achieved, and you're just really starting.
Yes.
That's how I feel. You're just really starting, and it's really going to take off with your sonic alchemy. So I'm very grateful I had a chance to reconnect with you and chat with you. And I thank you for joining me on this episode of Shambhu Sessions. I hope today's conversation inspired listeners to listen more deeply and live more creatively. You certainly are. And if people enjoyed this episode, please follow and review the show wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, you can find more about my music at shambhumusic.com. And until next time, everybody, stay open, stay inspired, and let your heart lead the way.
So great to be here on Shambhu Sessions. Thank you for having me, Shambhu.
Thank you. Namaste.
And look forward to more times and hopefully more collaborations together.
Yes, let's do it. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blessings.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Love you too.